Welcome to Hollywood in Hollywild. Questions. The common denominator of all questions is answers. It's a reoccurring pattern found everywhere in our universe, and it is a catalyst for change and the recipe for artistically solving any problem or the creation of anything in your life. We all ask questions to visualize a future. Last week I talked about setting myself up for success, but we need to set our country up for success. And the best way is to ask questions and postulate what the answers to those questions might look like. We need to think deeper before we act. You ever hear of a saying, success favors the prepared? Well, to be honest, I don't know who said it, but they were spot on right. For the next few shows, we're going to concentrate on upcoming questions that we, as individuals that make up a nation, are going to have to understand and agree on. So we need to start thinking about what those answers might look like. And if we're going to put in that much work, we should just make it right while we're at it. Failures, are really hard to take. And our country has been through a terrible string of failures lately. Children being killed at schools, children taken from parents and abused by systems made up solely for the sake of profits. Gosh, that's a huge failure for us as a country. We can't take care of kids. It's very depressing, and it's debilitating. But quite seriously, we don't have time to wallow, okay? Yep, we need a pep talk. Listen, giving yourself pep talks is critical to a successful life. It's positive reinforcement and a way to gauge or keep track of accomplishments. And more importantly, it's a way to keep an eye on the inevitable and valuable failures. Always give yourself a pep talk after a failure, okay? All the good coaches do. You don't hear successful coaches saying negative things to their players all the time, and you can't, and they never treat a star player like that. You're the star player, okay? In fact, post-failure, you should be a little excited because you just learned what doesn't work, and now you are closer to success than you were. Here's a mantra to burn into your brain. Failures teach more than success ever does. And they are vital to any real success. I personally have learned very little from success. I think of it more as like a symptom of a series of methodical failures. They're just part of a process to achieve, create, and make change. The reason that questions are so important and hard to answer is because the results are actually valuable. Answers are the jewel, the treasure, the prize. Nowhere in the universe are you given anything for nothing, not even at the molecular scale. You can't have answers without questions. Now, most questions are your higher mind, but the ego questions too. It's the most basest and survival-oriented questions like, will this kill me? Or should I run? Or can I eat this and not die? Our survival is being mentally threatened like children on a playground by a smart bully who's playing our ego and human nature through patterns we can't help responding to because of who we are. And it's designed to do nothing more than make us mad and angry. It's really simple. It works, it's sneaky, and it is incredibly effective. It's based on the premise of sowing discord by playing on people's anger, and that produces a confused populace that eventually starts ignoring lies, it starts concentrating on fantasies, and it justifies a moral leave of absence that eventually rises to mortal violence. Pitting citizen against citizen. Basically, you get the enemy so mad and angry that they kill themselves. And it works. Look at the state of our country now. We're being played like a child for candy, and our enemy is laughing at our misery while we stay angry at each other, believing everybody is wrong but us. And it's not costing our enemy a whole lot of money to do this either. All it takes is an internet connection, some Facebook accounts, some bot production to stir up both sides of any hot issue. The pisser is, we end up doing the enemy's work to get everyone mad because we share everything on social media. Everything. Especially anger. And we don't think that what makes some people laugh makes other people feel hopeless. Hopeless enough to take drastic actions. Because we're blind to their objective, we are sharing anger and discord to people that the enemy would never reach. Like our friends, our family. And the media is being manipulated from both sides of every issue as well. And it's really tough for them because they're fighting the damned if I do, damned if I don't battle. And the only way to fight that battle is just to wait for people to start thinking straight. It must seem hopeless if you're in the press. Most of the time it isn't the press, though. It's us. Angry about something that doesn't even have anything to do with the press. It's important to note that it only works if we cooperate. I know. There really is fake news out there, but we shouldn't help spread it or even highlight it to say it's fake. We need to completely ignore it. We need to understand how we're being used like puppets to make this all happen. We need to ask a few questions before we post on social media. Like simple questions like, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Now we see the error and dangers of sloppy judgment and poor communication skills. And we must change our behavior about how we collect, value, trust, and share all information. The world changes fast now. And we don't have time to wait a year and see how it's going to pan out. We've been under attack for at least 3 years. And the average citizen is fighting a trained army by themselves with no training in warfare. The meddling in our election process happened because we, all of us, didn't do a better job of vetting the stuff we spread before we spread it. We were all unknowingly complicit while we helped another country ruin us by making us angry. And you have to admit, it works really well. And look at us now. You waking up? The danger is real. We are at war. We as individuals must plan our defense, change our behavior, and, arm ourselves with tools to win this battle. We need to think before we share, and we have to stop sowing discord, immediately. And we have to stop being angry and mad at each other. If you like making people mad and like stirring up trouble, you're the enemy. I don't care who you are. If you're just trying to make people pissed off, you are the problem. And you know what? Comedy is complex. If you're not a comedian, don't make jokes that can be taken the wrong way, out of context. Lift up your fellow humans. Don't berate. Help. Don't hinder. And be the answer, not the problem. It's all Q&A, baby. The easiest way to beat a team is to divide a team. Once it fractures, it's just a mop-up operation. It's easier to attack civilians because they often don't have training to regroup under attack. If they keep us divided, we lose. We need to dig down, act American, and remember that we are made of immigrants chased from nearly every other country on the planet. And we came here because we wanted a fair shake at life. We didn't want anything for free. We just want fair and a basic life. Everything in nature gets that chance. Why not people? I mean, we need a hat we can hold on to. Now here's the magic question. What is it that we can all agree on that would be, unshakable? You know what the answer is? Basic human rights. That's why this country is so strong. We all came here for a chance at those, at a chance at a dignified life. And we've been fighting for it since the beginning. And that's what makes America American. It's the one dream we all still share. That desire for basic human rights, not just for me and not just for you, but for everyone. Now, what are basic rights, you say? Okay. They're all the things that keep people in poverty and static. It's the most basic things, like air, food, water, but it includes jobs, healthcare, dignified housing, education, freedom from persecution, and the right to own property. It's how all dictionaries define a successful civilization, a successful society. I mean, if we had all those basics, there would be no war. Everyone would be healthy, and we could rapidly find ways to live with our world, make it better, instead of on it and into a mess. We're so close, but still so far away. The benefits of ensuring basic human rights to everyone is an active affirmation of living for a future we can be proud of, not a hell we're embarrassed of. We must make our weak strong, or there is no hope. No ancient civilization throughout Earth's known history ever survived from ignoring the basic human rights of its population. The reason any people come together as a group is to share. Because sharing makes them all stronger. Greed is personal. It doesn't share. It is the antithesis of community. And if it isn't fair, it falls apart. I mean, we've been here before. And elitism and fake separations of fairness or access or treatment or anything other than fair is the enemy of humanity and therefore the problem. I know you're thinking, am I greedy? Okay, this is easy. Are you greedy? Have you collected more than you will use in your entire lifetime? Yeah, not very many people can fit in that. Have you hoarded resources just to hoard them? Yeah, see, you're not in that group either. You're greedy and you're the enemy if you hoard resources, if you don't share, if you work against the human race. You are my enemy. I mean, by nature of your hoarding. You refuse to share your plenty, and what you toss out from the top of your pocket is nothing compared to all you've hoarded. The world is at the edge of a cliff made possible by the mega rich in their search for more profits, and we will all die for money that no one will ever spend because greed is insane. You can never satiate this vice because it has nothing to do with wealth, money, or resources. It is nothing but a yawning, bottomless hole swallowing up hope and potential and life. We can change it all by coming together as a team. Don't let anyone divide. Seek to bring people together on the basics. Stay on point. Are there other things that are important? Yes, there are. Of course there are. But we're at war right now, and we really need to concentrate on sticking together, on staying positive, on not reacting fast, taking a moment, a day, however long it takes to verify something that you want to share. Don't do the enemy's work, which is to raise hackles and get people upset and have them act irrationally. All we have to do is think before pressing post. And stay on subject, stay on the basics. It's all about basic human rights, at least until we all have them. Then we can move on to the particulars of each and every one of our unique lists. Is this too big of a question for a community radio show? I reckon I'll find out. World War II was too big for the world last century, but they dealt with it. We can too. The world came together because fascism was breaking it apart for money, power, and greed. Capitalism is anti-people. It's personal enrichment at the expense of others. Should never run a government, especially one that's set up by the people for the people. The two ideas are completely incongruent of each other. It's like packing eggs with sledgehammers. No chickens. Enjoy this first song called Star 99. Today, we're going to talk to someone you already know, Alex Smith, the guy that's doing the automated farming using nutrient-rich fog. And yeah, he visualizes data. So that means he's asking a lot of questions. We're going to check in with him because he's great at that. Eric is back from vacation and sounding recharged, even though the heat hasn't budged since he left. And we all feel the planet warming, so we're going to stick with some really super cool music that is mood appropriate for what we're discussing on the show today by a very talented musician named Miles Knight. and we'll hear some music from his new EP called 2C-M. This is Hollywood in Hollywild Radio on KRYZradio.org and broadcast on 98.5 Low Power FM.
Cool, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Eric. I'm doing really, really good. The show is super exciting. And you found some music for it that is so perfect for what we're talking about now and the kind of times that we live in. How did you find this guy?
Well, it's funny. His name's Miles Knight, and he lives down the street from me. Like he lives. You have this incredible talent in your own neighborhood, right?
Yeah. That's happened to me, so I'm with that.
Yeah.
That's how I met Joe Rudd, who recorded.
It's like they're all, and this kid, he's like late teens. When I met him, he was probably 16, and he was playing guitar. I showed him some stuff on guitar, and then he started getting into really, he's a great guitar player, natural musician. Then he started getting into programming on his computer, original music, and he's using the program Ableton, which is what so many DJs use. It's a quick loops and synth sound. So he's literate in that program. Yeah, Ableton. And he gave me this music. I told him about your show, and it's incredible. Those 4 tracks that you chose are like dark but beautiful.
Yeah, he does things that are very familiar in the way that he writes music. It's got the beats, it's got the measures, it's got all the familiar patterns of music that you're used to hearing, but he does not use sounds that
you've heard.
I mean, he's it feels very. It's first of all, it's very emotional. It's very, very visually provoking.
Yeah.
Incredibly cinematic. I was like, man, this guy's music could go under any really fantastic movie,
You know what I thought of when I saw it? I was thinking, I saw the last Blade Runner. You saw it too.
Yeah. His music would have killed that.
Yeah. I love that movie, and it reminded me of that dystopian, yet those wide shots in that film.
Yeah,
the landscape shots.
Yeah.
Wide open.
It's not that his music is dystopian. I think it's representative of what music is going to sound like because we are taking in information at such remarkable speeds.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
and go ahead.
He's a kid. He's not a kid. He's a late
19.
Probably 19.
Compared to me,
there.
He's a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, he's totally there.
Picking up on stuff that is happening now.
He's writing music from right now for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's really, really exciting. I mean, his music does not replace all music, but it is so. I mean, when I first started listening to him, I was like, "This is noise." About 2 seconds later, I was like, "This is brilliant."
Yeah,
and,
I know. That's true.
And I'm like, I just can't. It flows so well with what we're talking about now, which is questions and answers. And the reason we're talking about questions is because we need to talk about questions because we're sort of at the precipice of a new beginning in America, if you will.
Yeah.
And we're going to make some changes in the future and we're going to have to redress the past. We're going to have to go back and we're going to have to fix a lot of stuff. But there's all kinds of people that are rising up to meet this challenge. Bernie Sanders just said that more than any time in his entire life, he's never seen as many good citizens stand up and
good people.
And good people that want to lead. And that's the core backbone of what really America was and why it was such an inspiration to the world. And the truth of it is we're all there. And anyway, but we've been distracted by all of this noise that Miles has turned into music.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It's just it's super exciting. I feel like I found some, unknown gem.
And he's going to go to Cal Arts in the fall and study composition and music, electronic music and all. The music program there.
Cool.
I know, it's exciting.
Okay, so the
Super
name
exciting.
of his band, or the name of this EP, is called 2C-M. That's the number 2, small c, dash capital M. And the songs that we're going to hear today are in this order. The first song is really quite short, and it's called Star 99.
Mm-hmm.
And which is, I think, the sort of the inspiration for the cover art. Which you have to ask.
Great.
I know, you have to ask him if he did that.
I gotta ask him. Like, I'm looking at it thinking, oh my God, it's perfect the way the cover works with the music.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna ask him. I was looking at.
He's really talented. I'm really looking forward to talking to him sometime. And then the second song we're gonna hear is New, and that's N-U. Mm-hmm. And then the third song is Yuval-Breed. Mm-hmm. And that's Yuval-Breed. And then the last song that we'll hear, it's really dystopian and is going to leave everybody in this sort of like, where in the universe am I? Is called Jade.
Yeah.
And don't be fooled. This is actually really good music. And the trick to life is to stay fluid and be ready to change. And I learned that from a guy that was supposedly 119 years old. He also said, don't eat very much. You don't need
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
There
He
you
was
go,
like,
man.
Eat very little. He was like, be ready to change, stay fluid.
That's beautiful. Good words, man.
Yeah,
Good
I was
words.
like, you got any good? Yeah. So we're gonna hear music from 2C-M, the music of Miles Knight from South Pasadena, I guess, right?
Yeah. He's a local boy.
All right. Well, thanks. It's good to have you back on the show. It's nice to have a conversation about it. My little one-page essay doesn't really fly that good.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to meet David, who ultimately got us in touch with Miles.
Yeah, he told me about him.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, keep your eyes out and your ears open. Let's take a break into the future with the EP 2C-M. This song is called New. This is KRYZradio.org, 98.5 low power FM. Cool. All right, well, welcome back to Hollywood and Hollywild. I'm Dave Thomas, and our next guest you've met already on the show, Alex Smith. Alex works as a visualizer of information so that people can make really complex decisions. Alex also was the same guy that came up with that great automated idea for farms grown on practically no water, fog, nutrient-rich fog. So we'll ask Alex. Alex, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're always busy, right?
Non-stop, yeah. It's juggling many things at the same time, but kind of a groove I've settled into, I guess.
Don't we all? Yeah. So, you shot me a note last week and said, Dave, check out this podcast. It's really cool. And the podcast, for my listeners, is Kara Swisher's podcast. It's called Recode Decode. Or is it Decode Recode? Do you know?
I think it's... Oh, boy. Man, I'm ashamed now.
It's easy to get it mixed up, and that's not our fault. That's Kara's being, all artsy and stuff. But the truth of the matter is that she has a great podcast. She is a very, very sharp, intelligent woman. And it's clear and evident that she has a really great grasp of many, many parts of the world that we all share. And she talks with he's the founder of your company, Signal. Josh?
Yeah, it's
Josh.
it's a company that I've been with for maybe 4 years now, and we just listen to everything on the internet, really, that's being said in real time, and kind of give people nice charts and graphs of here's what everybody thinks. So really, the appeal there for me was helping people have a voice.
Right. And he explains that really well on the podcast.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the origins and the background, everything.
Yeah, really, really interesting background. And it's cool because of where he's moved to now. And now Signal has got this thing that listens to everything, but it does something really unique. It kind of filters out so that you can see what's real information on the internet and what is bot generated. Is that cool? Can I say that?
Totally. Yeah. It's what's automated. Everything that's real or not, or pretending to be real, which is surprisingly a lot.
So here's where I'm going with all that. Are there some questions that you look at or ask whenever you see information?
Totally. I mean, I think it's it comes down to convenience, I guess. Being the animals that we are as humans, we're very surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, hardwired to behaviors. And those behaviors are also very, it seems that, in terms of social media and our behavior, it's this very strange, unique place where, we have your behavioral hardwiring sort of exposed, or it's vulnerable, I guess you could say. So you just have to ask yourself when you find a story that's in front of you and it's all too good and incites some type of reaction, whether it's positive, negative, all the things. Statistically, very easy to say something negative and spread something negative. That's how humans work. But it comes down to perfect storms, right? You have to ask yourself, is this thing in front of me? Is it all too convenient to incite a reaction that, as we saw play out in the election, for instance, it's just all too convenient to start throwing rocks, on the other side of the fence when we're all on the same team here. It's
right.
It's that. It's a reaction that it's natural, but it's not, right? It's something that was implanted there, and it's everywhere at the same time. It's on all sides of the fence. Nobody's not, hasn't been really hit by this from what we're finding, and it's, all sides of the fence are being, it's like stoking the fire from all sides. Right?
So let me stop you for just 1 second for the dumb people in the audience like me. You're talking about information that's spread on both sides of an argument to stir up both sides so that both sides are mad at each other because they're both stirred up like a hornet's nest. The FBI's report about that, it is incitement to create nothing more than discord.
Yeah. Well, and think about it. It's, this whole cycle of election. Have you ever seen people so mad at each other in America?
Angry.
We're all here on the same goal. We all put on our pants the same way every morning. Why are we all so mad at each other right now? Don't you think that's kind of weird and convenient?
Yeah, and it's because there's somebody that's sitting there working with equipment that makes it look like a lot more people than just one person are on both sides saying both things. So they're using like sock puppets.
Yeah, totally. And it's very convenient and very subtle, and assume that there's a Frankenstein model of all of us, all the data, everything you've ever read, everything digital that you've ever touched. There's a model that's of you sitting there, an artificial intelligence Frankenstein of making decisions of what you're supposed to be doing if we pull the strings in way X, Y, or Z, right? It's becomes like shooting fish in a barrel, right?
Yeah, exactly. It makes it really, really easy to just confuse everybody, walk away, go have dinner, come back tomorrow, people still be mad at each other, a few black eyes, stir it up a little bit, come back a couple of weeks later, these people, somebody's in the hospital now, somebody's walking around on crutches, they're still fighting. And so the first question that people have to ask themselves is, is this convenient? Is it so convenient that makes it suspicious? Is the first one, and then
totally.
And then the second one is it real? And so there's ways to figure out, is it real, right?
Yes, there's fake news, but there's also real news that's very targeted, right? So you might have an article that was published a few years ago, right? And it's a headline, and it gets re-pulled into the modern news cycle and brought up. If you look at trending stories.
Oh yeah, and it's 3 years old.
This ancient old story. Yeah, it's years old, but it's convenient that it comes up in the news feed just at the right time. And the headline is convincing enough that nobody actually reads the article, right? They scroll through their newsfeed and see a headline, and it stokes the fire. They don't need to read that article. The headline makes perfect sense. They can jump to a conclusion, and it's very valid-seeming conclusion, right? You could make an argument very well behind it.
Right. So that's the creation of the perfect storm, right? That they're accessing and tapping all sorts of information that exists. That was presented in any kind of way that is applicable for just to go up and take a stick and hit the beehive, just a really good whack, so that nobody gets any sleep and everybody gets pissed off again.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's, you just have to ask yourself, is this too convenient? And, are there a bunch of, a big angry crowd with pitchforks and torches right now about an issue? And do I feel like an angry mob person with a pitchfork and a torch right now, and should I feel that way?
Okay, so there's that right there, and also unacceptable behaviors in the past can be made acceptable now because they use the same information in the same way. They make it look like everybody says it's okay, when in fact it's not everybody saying it's okay.
No, I agree. I mean, think about how people act online. I mean, would you act that way, or yell the same things at somebody? Like we saw in the election cycle. You would not act like that in a physical setting, probably. But these weird fires of behavior that are being stoked by this online machine, really, these behaviors are becoming more desensitized and acceptable in modern place.
Right.
So in a way, by pushing that electric envelope and us having our hardwiring exposed in that envelope, thus in the outside physical space, makes us more hard edge, more risky, more of a powder keg, right?
Yeah, and it's dangerous in every way because
totally.
you're a little bit numb to it, and so it doesn't bother you so much because you've been hearing about it for 2 years now, and it just keeps ragging on you, and so you just kind of put up with it now, and it's this pattern reminds me of the whole idea of thinking that slavery is an acceptable form of behavior. You know what I mean? And because the first time that you explain, especially the people that are going to be slaves, they probably present it in a really wonderful way, and then everything, then they just look at you and say, well, this is the way it is, this is the way it always was, and this is the way it was always supposed to be, and you just rewrite history, and so I have to say though that the fact that you guys developed a product that can ascertain what's really going on is, it was a very when I heard them, Josh talking about it on the podcast with Kara, I was like, yes, we've got a new shield on the way. We've got a new shield against that really hard long pole that they've been using on us. And we don't have to hurt all the time anymore. We can see what's coming. We can defend ourselves. And do you think that we're beyond the time when we'll not have to ask questions? We have to ask questions from here on out forever, don't we?
No, totally. But I think it's a necessary part in the process, and a necessary part as we incorporate these new technologies. Because it's I paint this picture that social media is being used as a weapon. Rah rah rah. But you know what? I still use it. Everybody still uses it. There is a good side of social media. I mean, it's such a beautiful thing for knowledge sharing, idea sharing. People, we're connected across thousands of miles. I feel your presence 1,000 miles away, man, and it makes it much more convenient, right? So there is that beautiful side. It's just we have to be aware that this beautiful thing can also be a beautiful weapon at the same time.
This next song by Miles Knight from his new EP called 2CM is Yuval-Breed. Let's pick it up where we left off with Alex Smith. Yeah, you know, something else I was thinking about. There are times when sharing is not appropriate, and there are some things that we probably shouldn't share. And I think one of the other questions that we should ask is this worthy of sharing, or is this sharing a discord? And how can we judge that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that, that old thing, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I mean, it's 10 times statistically more easy to say something negative than something positive. So I think you have to ask yourself, am I helping spread this negative thing? Does it deserve that? It's another, because some negative information does deserve to be shared, right?
Right.
But not all of it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where we need to draw that line in the sand.
Yeah. So, because you could be helping a spy just stir up the hornet's nest just to sow discord. And don't think that that's not a valuable tool to manipulate the enemy. If you've never read Sun Tzu's The Art of War, get a copy and keep it in your pocket and read it for a year. The book is only, 60 pages long? Is it 50?
Yeah. So, good afternoon read.
Yeah. Whole chapters are like 4 sentences. We need to concentrate as a people on the things that are still evident when you pull back objectively and look at Earth and go, okay, what are Earth's problems? Well, there's a lot of trash in the ocean. That planet is heating up. That needs to be fixed. All the answers that this planet might need could be right here in all these people that are starving.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's people, man. It's like not a problem. Well, it's a problem and solution of material, yes, but people are the key to it. We are the key.
Everybody needs basic human rights: education, dignified housing, a job, health care. A proper infrastructure,
free information.
water, free information. Every day I'm reading about people that are doing incredible things, like you with your automated farming thing on Fog. How's that going, by the way?
Oh, it's going great.
We've asked some questions. We need to make sure that we're not helping spies ruin our country by posting stuff that we shouldn't be posting. And one of the easiest ways, I'm just doing a recap, and one of the easiest ways is to ask, is this too convenient? Is this too perfect for right now? And then, should this actually be shared? Is this just stirring up discord?
Yeah.
I guess the key thing that we need to look at is any kind of information that gets dropped that immediately stirs something up in you should instantly be suspect of, right? Because you just do.
Totally.
Yeah, you don't want to be played.
Yeah, this is all too perfect.
Yeah. Okay, and then we need to start thinking about what the answers are going to look like for the future, because if you don't think about it, when it comes up all of a sudden, and then you have to think about it, you miss stuff because you didn't think about it long enough. Does that make sense?
No, totally. I mean, yeah, I think it's, stop and think and slow down for a minute. I mean, it's, that we're at a, lightning fast pace of information dissemination, but stop, think, and pause, because it's all too convenient to get lost in that pace.
Stop, think, and pause. That should be everybody's new mantra. The Hollywood and Hollywild mantra.
Slow down.
Stop. What was it again? Stop, look, and pause?
Stop, think, and pause.
Stop, think, and pause.
Stop, look, and pause.
Stop, think, and
right?
pause. Yeah, I guess it's the same thing. Yeah. Stop, think, and pause. The new Hollywood and Hollywild mantra. So if you want to do some meditation today, do some meditation. Just meditate. Stop, think, and pause. So Alex, so you're gonna you're scooting back from the middle of the country to the coast and back and forth. What else is going on with you? You just working on your garden now, and you got That's
doing a lot of
fun.
gardening and solar panels and mining, man. It's
Mining.
the holy trinity. But I'm doing some data visualization stuff. I mean,
Cool.
you imagine I found all the bots on the internet, and I want
Right.
to start finding a lot of malicious actors on Bitcoin networks, and there's
nice.
a public, visible ledger out there. So I'm having fun planking around, looking at some pixels dance. But you look at these problems of how do I look at a few million things at a time and see what's not like the others. It's the kind of things I excel at. So
Gosh,
have
it's so
some fun,
crazy.
Sure tonight.
All right. Well, don't work too late. And thanks for the interview and
never.
the conversation.
Man, thanks for having me always.
And I'll talk to you soon. Give Stace a big hug for me. Alex.
Heck yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, stay safe, dude. Don't burn up, man.
I won't. It's crazy out here. This last song from the EP 2CM by Miles Knight is called Jade. I'm slowly being overtaken by the speed of life. Hey, listen, work smarter, not harder, and think before you act this next week. The only way to beat a problem is to outthink it. We need to stay fluid, we need to be ready for change, and we need to learn when we've been wrong, and we need to take responsibility for it, not feel bad about it. We all make mistakes, but we learn for them. Okay, so today, we're somebody that we weren't yesterday. Let's act like it. Let's stay on the good foot. Keep it positive. Happy people always have choices. Don't let anybody steal your joy. And dream bigger, for crying out loud. We still have room. We always have room for great ideas. Remember, the hard way is often the easiest route to success. The difficult stuff is the most rewarding. Dream bigger. Nearly a century ago, the world challenged itself to achieve basic human rights for every sentient being on the planet. And that's not that hard of a fetch, especially when you consider how much money we have in the world. But capitalism and greed have stopped us every time. We, as the people that make up the nations of so many countries that make up the world, we all need to just reel in capitalism and teach and act with the idea that resolving conflict without violence is our only way forward. We know what the right thing to do is, and if we come together right now, we could do the most important work humanity has ever undertaken by ensuring that every thinking being on the planet is ensured basic human rights. Think about it. See you next week.